Hey, what's up? How you doing, everyone? It's Monday at 5 o'clock. Welcome to another Instagram Live here on the Irving Plaza Instagram page. I hope everyone's doing okay. Had a good weekend. It is nice out right now. Nice. I think it's a thing to say nice. It's not too hot, not too cold, but it's nice. I don't have the AC on. I know everyone out there has been getting wrecked with their Con Ed bills. So, yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough, especially with everyone working from home. Those Con Ed bills are so high. What's your Con Ed bill this month? Mine was insane. Let me know. Tell us. So today we have a very special interview. We were talking to Buzz Osborne, King Buzzo from the Melvins. He will be here in a little bit. He's not jumped on yet, but when he is, we will have a conversation with him, and we will talk about lots of things. I know you guys definitely have a lot of questions and a lot of comments, and we will absolutely try to get to as many of them as possible. Be cool. Obviously, just be cool. And then we'll chat. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can. Buzzo's here, so I'm going to grab him, and then we will talk. Buzz,
Hey, can you hear me?
I got you. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, yeah, perfect.
How you doing?
It's very hot here. I'm sure it is there too.
It's very hot. So first and foremost, I want to apologize because I've never bailed on an interview, and I did to you the other day, so I'm so sorry. But thank you for rescheduling with us.
I heard that you were almost killed.
Well, the truth. Okay, you want to know the truth? Like, I had surgery about 3 weeks ago, and I had pretty big surgery, and I'm recovering, and I got violently ill that day. And so, yes, so I am very glad that you rescheduled, and I'm so sorry. Literally, it was like 15 minutes before the interview, and I just couldn't do it. So thank you so much for like actually coming back today. I know you had a
Of course,
record come out, so thanks so much. So what's
I'm a
going on besides the heat?
COVID lockdown, baby. Everything's
Yeah,
canceled.
it is. I know. There's nothing going on. You're in Washington, right?
No, no, no. I live in Los Angeles. I've been in California
Oh,
86, 87. I've been in
sorry.
93.
How's LA? Yeah, LA. Everything. Nothing's happening there. Everything is shut down.
It's very quiet. Actually, some of the traffic's picked up a little bit, but nothing. No big deal. I mean, there's nothing going on. I mean, music is done. Kind of waiting it out and see what happens. I mean, everybody's in the same boat. It's
Yeah,
hard times for everybody. You know.
it was crazy. In New York, we actually knew things were weird when there was no traffic. Because same thing in LA and New York, like traffic is how we live. You literally can't go anywhere without sitting in your car for a half an hour longer than it should take. And it's slowly starting to come back. And even though it sucks, it is some normalcy. It's like that normalcy of like, wow, there's traffic again.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. I have no
Yeah.
idea. I'm no expert when it comes to this kind of thing. I don't think anybody is. It's the weirdest thing I've ever lived through.
Yeah.
Um, it's it is both terrifying, annoying, and sad all at the same time. How about that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's also a crazy time to be a promoter, to be a musician, because obviously, like, I'm sure I could speak to you, same you goes, it's like I've literally been in a live show every day of my life for the past 25 years. And to not have that, it's just tough, like, and I think there's a lot of lost souls right now trying to figure out what to do, live streams, podcasts, YouTube, we're just trying to find that right fix, and it's not there.
Nope, not yet. I haven't figured it out yet. But keeping busy. Do a lot of physical exercise and stuff like that to keep your brain in line. I like that kind of stuff anyway. Outdoor activities, things of that nature. Musicians are basically people of the great indoors.
Yeah.
It's good to do stuff that's outdoors, even when I am working. Um, I think it kind of balances stuff out.
Do you
Um,
have like do you have anything you do when you're on tour? Like do you disappear like from the bus and go do like rock climbing or anything crazy?
no, nothing like that, but mostly just exercising, stuff like
Yeah.
that. The show is always a good energy burner. Um, but when I'm home, I exercise, 5 or 6 days a week, plus do lots of golfing and all that kind of stuff whenever I'm home, plus work as much as possible on music and a lot of other things.
Yeah. So you had a record come out. I mean, you solo
Yeah.
record. Did you ever think maybe postpone it because of the quarantine, or did you always just say fuck it, let's just do it? Who cares?
We did postpone it. It was supposed to come out in May.
Oh shit!
I
There you
had a
go.
U.S. tour planned that would have already been over. I was going to basically work from the beginning of near the middle of May until the end of November, just on that record.
Terrible. Like
You know.
it's
So then we
crazy.
played it till now, and so um, I had this thing mastered in last December, and it was finished from way before that. So this is an old record to me.
I know. I think, but you hear that a lot from musicians, where like where sometimes they record shit and it doesn't come out till like a year or two later, and you're basically like, so now when you finally do tour off it, it's gonna be super old.
Well, what I'll probably do is just do a new one.
Yeah.
You
Yo,
know.
but might as well at this point. Who cares? And how did you like? Why did you decide to do a solo record? It just because I know you've done it in the past, but like it's just something at this point you're just like, let's try something different.
Um, I did one 5 or 6 years ago that went really
Yeah,
well. Big, huge world tour. Well, not the whole world, but a lot of the world. Um, and then I did a whole bunch of work with the Melvins after that. So uh, felt like it was, I plan everything really extensively. Everything is always planned out way, 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 way in advance with what we're doing. I don't like to have any period of time where I don't know what's going on. So um, I always have some irons in the fire, whatever it may be.
so
So,
this must be hell because there's a lot of uncertainty and there's no planning right now.
well, certainly for live stuff, there's no idea,
Yeah,
but we're able to work in the studio a little bit more. We have a new Melvins 1983 record that's almost done with the original
awesome.
and Dale playing bass. That's almost it's completely tracked. Half of it's mixed. Um, that will probably come out in January, some roughly, and that's done. And then we have a bunch of stuff that will come out with Tom Hazelmar on AMREP. We've had like I don't know how many, 4 or 5 of those come out this year already. Plus this record, so I mean, we never wait too long. I mean, to me, it's like that's kind of the deal. That's what I do, and so I do it. I do it as much as I can, and as
And
long
you're always writing shit, right? I mean, you're always working constantly. Like,
I'm working a lot.
yeah, yeah,
If on one form or another. I mean, especially during busy times of the year for me, 70% of my waking hours are spent just on music stuff. I don't know a whole lot about what else is going on, somewhat, but I'm pretty isolated to the world, so kind of a little bit anyway.
so this
And
kind of worked out well for you then. If you're self isolating,
very strange. I mean, it's very strange. I'm not a um, usually when I'm home. That's my home. When I'm at home, that's more of a vacation for me, being at home.
yeah,
Um, so I'm not one to oh, let's go on some big trip. That's about the last thing I want to do. So being a lockdown or just home for that amount of time, it was me and my wife and our dogs, and if anything, it's we've grown closer together during that
that's cool.
27 years. It's you wouldn't think that, but we haven't had any knockdown drag out fights. We haven't had to call any cops or anything. Have anybody? That's been good.
Well, also too, it's probably the most amount of time you spend home and how long. I mean, when you're a touring musician, you don't really get 6, 7 months at home at a clip.
I would never have done this. It's the first time ever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when was the last time? When was the last time you had been home this long? Can you remember?
I have.
Never.
Not since I started working. I started making my living playing music in 1988.
Yeah,
That just means that I was able to get by with just music, and I haven't stopped since then. This is the longest period of time I haven't done any work as far as like live goes. And
it's
right now,
crazy.
yeah, we could record another new album, but it's kind of like building the bridge on the river Kwai. There's not a real whole lot of reason. There's no idea when we're gonna be able to play it.
Yeah.
That's kind of a drag, but everything may be reinvented. Who knows? I'm down for the challenge. It's fine.
Yeah, I think, obviously with crisis comes opportunity, and I mean, I think it is a good place because even though you do write a lot, you're home and you can just write to your heart's content. You can write, you could totally write the music for the rest of your career because you're just sitting home right now. Like it's like doing
I'm
nothing.
already partially done already, so
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't have to, but I still do anyway.
right. That's right. Sorry, there's like, I don't know if you hear, but there's a little bit of lag, like when me and you speak. So I'm hearing you about 10 seconds after you say something. So that's why I'm a little slow. That's why.
No, I'm hearing it perfect.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I see some people saying the same thing. They're hearing the lag as well.
LA is so much further advanced than you guys are.
Well, do you have these like fancy earphones? Is that what you have too? Or
I'm just listening to it off the phone.
yeah, I bet you it's the earphones that's fucking me up. I swear they sell you a bag of goods and this shit just does not work.
Sucker.
That's nuts. So yeah. Anyway, though, so the fucking record's rad. It's like, so when you decided to write this record, like, where was your head at? Like, what were you listening to when you wrote this record?
Uh, maybe the birthday party waits, probably.
Well, I know why it's a cliche question, right? But the reason why I ask is because it's cool as shit when you talk to musicians who's been doing it as long as you have. And I think what's awesome is that when you listen to anybody from that's had a 30-year plus career, you could hear the differences in their like the differences in music. And I think a lot of that sometimes is depending on what you're listening to at the time. Is that something true for you? Like, are you influenced by what you're listening to at the time, or is it just what you feel like playing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm influenced by music all the time. Um, as an art form, music, nothing's moved me more than music. No, maybe movies to some degree, but
Yeah.
music does it in a way for me that nothing else ever has. Not a painting, not a um, uh, sculpture. Some movies have, but music in general, it's like if I want a wake up call, something that's gonna blow me out of the water, it's gonna be a song that really gets me going. That's what's gonna do it.
Yeah.
You
And
just movies are more you're staring at it, whereas with you put on a Search and Destroy by the Stooges, and you can do jumping jacks through the whole song.
well, also making music is more accessible, obviously, right? Like anybody can pick up a guitar and like that, let that spirit move them and create the way they want. Obviously, when you're making music, that's a whole separate art form with a lot of money and other things involved. When you're making music, it's a visceral thing. It's primal in a sense because you're just playing what comes to you naturally. Like you said, like especially when you talk about something like the Stooges, that is, or anything. There's just like that's emotion evoking. Like you're
Yeah,
actually that's a feeling,
yeah, you feel it in your whole body.
right?
Yeah. I've said this before, but I met an IndyCar driver that drove in the early '70s. He was an IndyCar driver, and he said that the only thing that made him feel the way it did to drive an IndyCar at 200 miles an hour or whatever, however fast they drove then, was music. And I knew what he meant.
It's that feeling. It's just like, but also too, in our world of the actual live shows of like that, and that's what's so weird now about imagining what the world's going to look like going forward. Because obviously, crowd participation, the energy from the crowd, whatever the crowd is doing, whether it's crowd surfing, moshing stage, whatever it is, headbanging, just that intimacy of the crowd feeling it is so important to what we do. And that's like the driver said, that's integral for like the kind of music that like you guys play.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's a big part of it. Music can move you in a lot of different ways. I try to let it do that as well. Um, if I'm driving on a long drive, I don't know that I want to play too much stuff that's going to put me to sleep. It's probably not.
Yeah, what was the first song you ever learned how to play on guitar?
I don't know. Maybe like I took like an acoustic guitar class and later in high school, and that was like Jimmy Crack Corn and Oh Suzanne type of stuff.
I think everyone that I guess that's like what everyone plays, right?
Yeah, I guess nobody. The idea. I really didn't start playing guitar until I was just out of high school, maybe in high school to some degree, but 11th or 12th grade, give or take. And then we had our band going pretty quickly after that. It seemed like a long time during that period of time. It seemed like a long time had passed, but in reality, when you think about it, when I think back about it, that it really wasn't that long before, I had a guitar, was able to write some songs, and then playing live. It was just a few years, so weird. It seems like eons. That's like when people talk about, well, when I was a kid, this and this was happening, yeah, but you were only a kid for about maybe 6 years.
Yeah.
It's not that long.
It's fucking dog years, right? Like, it just feels like it's forever. Like,
Yeah. It's like 13 years. Oh my God. For your first 13 years, when you think back about it, it seems like it was such a long time.
but it's also like when you listen to music, those are just formative years are so important. Like I feel like for me and a lot of people, like the shit that you listen to when you're like 13, 16, and like 20 or a lot, because I feel like you change a little bit like as you get older. And it pretty much is like really kind of sets the stage of what you listen to or play for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I still like all the music I liked when I was 12 and 13.
Right. Yeah. That's 100%. I mean, also, but you probably listened to good shit when you were 12 and 13.
I like, I liked everything from Aerosmith, Aerosmith, Kiss, Ted Nugent, Jimi Hendrix, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin. And then as right around, 13, 14 is when, I don't know, roughly, as when I started getting into more like David Bowie, and kind of just moved into the punk rock stuff through that, just from seeing pictures in the magazine. So I didn't have older brothers or people to hit me to anything. I found all that stuff on my own, in the middle of nowhere town in Washington, so I got it all through magazines, just seeing pictures of these people in magazines, and then ordering the records out of a order. You could like mail order records in the magazines, and I would look at a picture of these people and then like the Clash and order the record. Never heard it. Didn't know anybody that heard it.
We also did you also do the thank you list and because that's, if I'm being honest, the first time I've ever heard the name the Melvins. I'm trying to think of who it was, but that's when I was a kid. I used to always look at the thank you list and records and cassettes to see the bands that I liked, who they were thanking, and those were bands I was going to listen to.
Yeah, I did a lot of that kind of thing. Like if a band was doing a cover, like the Sex Pistols did a cover of a speech, which kind of led me to that. All those kinds of things long before I was, playing music. And then I didn't see a whole lot of difference in at that point. Music was music. It was cool. I really liked it. So it was like, I could listen to Led Zeppelin and the Sex Pistols and not have there was nobody to tell me that was conflicted. So it wasn't in my brain.
Right. It wasn't like there wasn't like the punk kid saying you can't listen to metal and vice versa. It was like, but that's perfect to like what the Melvins are, right? Because I think you're a pretty uncategorizable band. Like there's no, I could see a punk or a metalhead or stoner rock. You guys fall into every kind of realm, and you have for the past 30 years.
Yeah, I would say that's true. 100%. I never discounted any of that stuff. If I didn't like it, I didn't like it. But I didn't go, well, I can't listen to this because it's hippie music. That would mean I couldn't listen to Jimi Hendrix. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. But imagine like being that close-minded though to like music or anything in life that like you wouldn't listen to it just because it's not the kind of, you know what I mean? Like, how many things you would miss out on?
I'm around those people all the time. Still.
Yeah.
All the time. How can you listen to Judas Priest? I go, how can you not?
Yeah.
What do you mean? I like Judas Priest as much as I like the Dicks from Texas,
Right. The Dicks are awesome.
They both have good stuff about them.
So what?
I would be lying to say I don't enjoy that,
Yeah, so I'm just kind of curious too, and I always love to hear like first shows. Like, what was the first shows that you guys played? Because you're in the middle of Washington. Did you go to Tacoma or Seattle? Where would you guys like wind up playing, or where would you go to shows?
We went to shows in Seattle or wherever we could, and then we first played. Our first show was in Olympia, Washington. Cool. That was the place to where we were, and we saw lots of bands there. And I still know a lot of those people, like Toby Vale from Bikini Kill. She was
Chris.
She was like 14 or so, and we've remained friends this whole time. It's never not been the case, and
that's awesome.
I'll never forget that kind of stuff. It was all really good. I had a great time there, and it was a great place to learn to play shows and figure out our weird little band from the middle of nowhere and how it would fit in, and it gave us the strength to move on forward from there. And then we moved out of that area 86, 87. I never looked back. Started over in California and never looked back. I was never part of. No, I'm not a joiner-inner. I'm not a guy who would join anything. I'm not a club joining type of person. I'm just not. Wouldn't. That kind of thing doesn't interest me. I don't feel comfortable in that. That's the kind of thing. So you're part of this music scene. You're part of that music. Well, I enjoy lots of aspects of it, but we don't have any brother bands, or, I'm not. I don't feel akin to any of it. What they call it, very much like the saying, Groucho Marxist. I don't want to belong to any club. Have me as a member.
Right. Well, I also think too, it is, growing up in a scene, I think a scene's awesome because there's a lot of camaraderie. It pushes people, but then in some regards also too, it's limiting in the sense, like you said, you just think you can only play a certain kind of music, and you're not going to grow as a musician if you're just playing the same shit that all your friends are playing.
Yeah, I don't. Never had any interest in it, one way or another. I mean, we were always a lot weirder than the rest of those bands, especially the grunge bands that we were supposedly associated with, and I never felt anything other than happy that they were getting the success they were. But I also never thought that we were anything like those bands, in that we weren't that commercial. I understood. I've always understood that. It's always weirded me out when people say that. I don't know how they get this, but it's like I'm somehow jealous or have ill feelings towards the fact that we didn't sell millions of records. It's like, okay, what kind of a person do you think I am? It's like, come on. It's like, I don't have time to think along. I don't think any of those kinds of things at all. And if you think that that's what I would think, to me, that's what you would think, because that's not me. No way.
Well,
I don't feel, not at all. I understand my place in the world.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that,
Well, there's always this thing, right? There's this weird fucking competitive nature that everybody, or comparisons that people put in their head. Even when people talk about Seattle, it's always like, oh, who do you like better, Pearl Jam or Nirvana? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's people always, there's this assumption that there has to be like the best, or people are left out. And I think that's a weird thing about human nature, that people always, especially in music scenes, like they have to say like the best band from that scene. There's room for everybody.
Yeah, there's room. I mean, I don't like all the things those bands did, but I certainly don't hate everything they did either. I mean, usually with any band, if I wanted to take the time to go through their entire catalog, I could probably find something about them I liked.
Yeah.
Any band, I'm sure I could find one or two songs. That's good enough to me, You
just got to be willing to listen. I think that's always a thing. It's like, you just got to check it out, even because you never know.
Yeah. And I never felt that way. And I'm also almost insulted when people try to put that on me. It's like, no, that's not me. That's you.
Yeah.
That's what you would think. That's not what I think. And I'm very, very grateful and could not be happier for my place in the world. I feel absolutely blessed in everything that I've gotten, and everything that's good in my life I got from my association with music.
Sure.
My marriage which to me is my greatest accomplishment. It's 20 years of marriage. That to me is like the biggest thing. And me and my wife Mackie always had to point out that that's 27 years of marriage to the same person.
I like how you say that to each other. I like how you're both on the same page. You're like, we're in this together.
We're in this together. We always laugh that there's not going to be a divorce because one of us is going to be dead.
It's the cheapest way. It's the cheapest way to do it. It's too expensive to get divorced. You don't want to go through that shit.
I'd rather burn it to the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see that happening. It's a good, solid thing. That's kind of who I am. I was never into the rock star cliche type stuff. Never.
Sure.
I was never attracted to that. Even during all those times of from '88 till now, I always had a girlfriend or I was married, and I honor that. I don't do things that would bring, dishonor to my wife. I would never do those sorts of. Never would. I don't want to do that. So I never. Well, it doesn't appeal to me. Those kinds of things don't appeal to me, like groupie or doing blow off some stripper's tits or something. I just never had any interest. It just great. If you want to do that, I don't care. It's fine with me. I couldn't make that work. I don't have the ability to be able to process that in a way that would make me be able to just continue on.
Yeah, and it's this weird. It's this weird thing that like, and you've seen it a million times. We've all seen it. That people feel like you have to fit into that role once you're successful. Like once your band starts doing well, that's just like, all right, where's the drugs? Where's the bad decisions that have to go? It's like a rites of passage that people feel like they have to go through, but you don't. And you know what? A lot of times the bands that are super successful are the bands that never went through that. That just are always focused.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I'm not faulting people for doing that. I'm strictly only. Are you
Sure.
drinking the Colt 45?
No, I speaking of the guy that doesn't follow, I don't drink. I'm actually straight edge. So it's Dr. Diet Pepsi.
No. And it's not that I have never done that kind of stuff. I certainly have.
Sure.
I'm not faulting it. It's not a judgment call on anyone else. I'm just saying I personally couldn't take it. I couldn't deal with it. That's it. It's not for me. And I don't care how anybody. I mean, if you ask me, hey, should I, go out with strippers and do blow and drink all the time? Should I do that? I might go, well, I would advise you not to do it, but I'm not going to stop you. That's your journey. It's your business.
Yeah.
Not my business. If you want to really ask me what I thought, I might carefully give you an answer.
But it's good to like kind of. I agree with you when you make your own path. When you're not like actually living up to an expectation and you're just making decisions for yourself, what's best for you, not what fits into a narrative about you or your band.
Yeah. And so, me and Dale have always kind of fit into those aspects. We see eye to eye along those lines, and it's kind of worked for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I could not be more grateful about that kind of thing. I mean, the guys that I play with, whether it's, Trevor Dunn, Dale Crover, Steve McDonald, Jeff Pincus, Mike Dillard, any of these people or anybody else along those lines, I feel like the luckiest man alive, the luckiest songwriter on the face of the planet to be able to write songs and have those guys, it's just, it couldn't be better. I could not be happier. I never, ever feel otherwise.
Someone actually said, sorry, I can't pronounce your name, Danielle Casra. Sorry, Daniel Castro. Buzz made a genre. Do you think that's fair to say?
What was that now?
I said that you created a genre of music. Do you think that's fair to say?
Well, I mean, if you look at like the people that have said that we were influences on them, like the grunge movement, certainly Soundgarden. Let's just take Soundgarden and Nirvana. They've always said that we were a big part of that stuff. And so if you look at it from that perspective, then our influence had an impact on a global level.
Yeah.
And so great. I mean, what that says to me is during that whole time, prior to that, I wasn't wrong, that there was something about what I thought would work, that I thought was missing in music, that actually was true. Okay, that's great, and it feels good to have that happen. But beyond that, you get to this point and you go, what have you done lately? So
Sure.
that's why I just keep moving forward and doing whatever I need to do.
And it always seems like there's a few different kind of bands. There's definitely bands that are huge, bands that are successful, but also there's bands that influence bands. And you guys are that 100%. I mean, obviously you're successful, you're still making it happen, but like, I saw somebody just said Nirvana idolized you guys. They say it in the interviews back then. It's true. It's like there's very few bands I can think of that people in bands talk about as much. And therefore, yeah, you guys definitely did define a genre because you were the first people to have that big guitar sound in a lot of ways. And it's evident when you listen to a lot of those bands, the influence that you guys had.
Yeah, that's great. That doesn't bother me in the least. I only feel grateful. That's it. I only ever have. The Nirvana thing, and in the last couple years, the Soundgarden thing, they both ended so badly that it's difficult for me to view it. Like, so it's some amazing thing because I can't get past those terrible of it. It's almost like hasn't ruined it for me, but it puts it in a different light. I mean, if Cobain or Chris Cornell had died of cancer, I would feel much differently about how it all worked.
Right, and then Kurt produced Houdini, right? And there's probably
he did his best on that, and we were friends. We were friends first, and I would much rather have seen him not successful on live than successful and dead.
Sure,
that's the truth. And that's not something I'm ever going to get over. I'm never going to feel like that's okay. We can just look at the good stuff now, and it's difficult for me to find that. But I understand that the world is not a right place, and these things happen, and you just do your best to deal with it, and try to live life in a way that doesn't embrace those sorts of things.
Well, on the positive, and that is, whenever you think about the unfortunate things that happen to people, you think about the work that speaks for itself. And Houdini is a fucking amazing record that it's still to this day, when you listen to it, it's just as powerful as it was when it came out in '93, right? Like it's just, and I think also too, what's amazing about it is that younger people that probably weren't even alive when that record came out, that shit's still relevant to them. You can listen to that record now and it still makes sense with so many of the bands. And, especially now that like it seems like in the past few years, there's so many different genres of stoner music, like of just guitar heavy, you know, bands, that you guys just fit right in. I mean, and so many different, whether it's you guys playing Maryland Death Fest or Psycho Vegas, like there's so many different kinds of metalheads or people that like heavy music that like you guys. And it's just, and again, it's not dated. It's very relevant.
Wasn't always the case. We did a lot of touring, especially in the early to mid the 90s, where we opened for bands whose audience really had no interest in anything we were doing. And so you're standing there in front of 10,000 or more people who just hate your guts simply because you're playing music in front of them before a band they really want to see.
Sure.
Kind of cared less about our legacy or any of that stuff. So we saw a whole lot of that kind of thing. So sometimes, things move and turn slowly. So it wasn't like it was overnight. All of a sudden, like people will look back at like, oh, the golden era, like Stoner Witch, Houdini, and it's like, yeah, well, I lived through those eras, and it was great, but it certainly was not accepted with open arms by these people.
But also too, and you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, you were on a major label at that point, correct?
Yep.
Right. So when you're on a major label, like you said, I remember back then seeing you guys, seeing Jesus Lizard, seeing all these amazing bands, but as openers. And just so many of the people that were there to see whoever the headliner was just didn't get it, because that's what because that's what happens when you sign to a major label. They want everyone to consume it, but not everybody's going to get every band.
No, it's okay. We understood that. I mean, Jesus, we toured with bands like Helmet in I think it was 96, maybe 97, and their audience, by and large, hated our guts. Just hated us.
Crazy. It's so weird.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the thing. It's like, no, it was a hard time. And like records like Houdini and Stoner Witch, they didn't get amazingly positive reviews from reviewers. Not at all. Stoner Witch got terrible reviews.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of terrible reviews about how horrible it was. And Houdini, the same thing. It was, positive, but as time has went on, our reviews get better. There's less bad reviews and more good reviews, certainly than any time we were on Atlantic Records. I mean, a lot of those people that were reviewing records at that point were still pissed off that hair metal wasn't big anymore.
Yeah. Well, grunge single-handedly killed hair metal.
Good. That's good. Although with some of those bands, I could probably find a few things I liked if I really looked. But I maybe.
Oh, yeah, dude. I still listen to White Lion once a week. There's some of those good bands. Some of those bands are really good.
I might be able to find something of theirs. Maybe if I listen through it, But I don't know that I ever would. But I'm sure, that's usually the case. Not always. What I've been listening to a lot lately is just the radio, like 80s radio in LA, and there's stuff like that I would be lying to say that I didn't like some 80s pop synth music. It's like, no, some of it's okay. Some of it wouldn't turn it off if I heard it. I don't feel like it's there's enough good stuff out there for me to be that picky. If it's remotely good, I'm gonna like it. I don't care if it's fucking Tommy Two-Tone. If it's a song, I'm gonna like it.
Do you like Tommy Two-Tone? That's really funny.
I'd be lying to say that pop music along those lines, like the Cars or whoever, bands like that I like that stuff, as well as massive amounts of other stuff, no matter whatever it may, So I'm more relaxed along those lines, but if I don't like something, I don't like it. I don't like it, but I might be able to find something about it I like, maybe.
I totally agree with that. All right, so you've been awesome. I want to get a lot of people have questions. If you guys have questions, please ask some questions. We'll definitely get to them. We'll see what we can get to.
Scrolling up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see some of them, but they go by pretty fast.
They go by quite a lot. Usually it's people like sending smiley faces or flag of whatever country they're from. So we'll try to actually get some questions. If you guys can actually ask some stuff, that'd be great. Cars are from Boston. Yes, we love the Cars.
No, that's true. Good one. Bootlicking fascist. Fuck you, King Buzzo. Okay, yeah. Well, that's a positive note there. How hard do you squeeze your balls to Skinhorse? So Skinhorse, that was a electronic trickery. Another collaborate with Al from Sleep. Yeah, we would do that in a heartbeat. That would be really fun. Cool. These are going by really fast.
All right. Well, I mean, let's address it. Like, since what that guy said, is that you want to talk about that real quick and address it? Because obviously a lot of people throwing those comments out there. So if that's something you want to check. We'll say it again.
Which one did you say?
Oh, the one that called you a fascist. Obviously, this has been coming up a lot lately. So I figured maybe you could chat about it for 2 minutes just to put everyone's mind at ease. I might have some questions about that stuff.
Oh, you mean the interview with
yeah. You don't have to say his name. It's fine. It's cool.
Gavin McInnes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the thing about it is, with that interview, I don't know Gavin McInnes. I've never met Gavin McInnes. That was 2.5 years ago. I hadn't talked to him before that. I talked to him during the interview, and I never talked to him after that. And as far as like what he does or how he lives his life or what he thinks, I have no idea. And then this whole issue with the Proud Boys came up, and I had never heard of the Proud Boys until last week when all this came up. I have no idea what they do. Never heard of them. I didn't watch the podcast after I did it. I don't almost never watch podcasts. I would say I'll never watch any kind of thing like that I'm involved in. I don't go back and listen to myself talking, believe it or not. Sure. So I just kind of did that interview and put it out of my mind and never really thought about it again until like a week and a half ago. So I don't remember a whole lot that was going on. I'm not going to go back and listen to it. That's like kind of listening to your own music or reading your own books. It's just not something I would do. But as far as addressing that sort of thing, for the record, I don't know anything about Gavin McInnes or what he thinks. I don't know anything about the Proud Boys or what they're involved in. I have no idea what kind of organization it is. I don't know how many people are in it. I don't know what they do or what they think. I also am absolutely opposed to any kind of extremist group of any sort. I would never be involved in anything like that, nor would I ever promote it. Whenever I do interviews of that nature, whatever they may be, or like this, or it's promoting my music or me. It's because I have something that I want to put out there, a new album or something like that. Other than that, I have absolutely no interest in doing interviews. I don't, if I had nothing to sell, like a record to promote, I would be in this interview because I don't really care if people hear me speak or, want to know what I think. I don't really have much interest in any of that. So I'm not promoting. If I do an interview like that, if I went on that show, it was not to promote him, it was to promote me. I actually don't have any idea what he thinks and didn't before it. Just like I don't have any idea what you think. I didn't do a background check. Didn't look into what your history is. I never would. I never have. And so, yet nonetheless, here I am,
So moving forward, though, since in the light of this, is that a practice that you still do and not research ahead, or you still going to
as usual? And it was, but there's going to be some people out there who are going to be upset no matter what. And then there's some people that get upset about, well, you said that the Nazis were socialists. Okay, they're not socialists. Now we've cleared that up. I'm glad we got that out of the way. Let's just move on. Whatever you say. You guys are experts on socialism. Fine, I can live with that. Great, you're right. I really don't give a shit. It seems like such trivial nonsense to me that I can't even believe that people would even bring it up. You think this about the Nazis, or you think that about whatever else they were talking about. I'm not into violence, burning things, protesting, extremist activity of any kind. I'm not into it. I think it's a terrible thing. I don't care if I agree with what their motives are. I just don't like it at all. I don't agree with that kind of thing. So there it is.
Cool.
People
And
think that
yeah.
I'm somehow identifying with these people, or that's just crazy. I don't have those thoughts. I don't feel that way at all. Not at all.
And on your Wikipedia page, it says something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing, that you at some point had said that you feel like musicians shouldn't speak out about politics. Is that something you said? Do you know what I'm talking about? That like it's
Well,
that quote?
granted, okay, understand that the Wikipedia is not something that I change.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was. I'm asking if that's real.
I don't know what's on the Wikipedia page. I haven't probably looked at it in a few years. But if I said that, it may be taken out of context, maybe.
Sure.
I really don't care if people want to talk about that kind of thing. If musicians or actors or whoever wants to talk about that, they can. And but I don't have to listen to it. I also don't have to like it. I can accept it without liking it.
Sure.
I give you every right in the world to do anything along those lines that you want to. But I don't have to listen to it. I don't have to like it. Generally, if I don't like something that somebody's saying, I just don't listen to it. It's like I don't watch TV. People have faulted me for being on the Fox TV network, on Red Eye and stuff like that. I've never watched Fox News. I've never watched Red Eye. I've never seen. Those guys think that's kind of funny. You've never watched a show? No, I've never seen it. I don't watch TV. I have no idea what's on Fox News. I don't have any idea what's on NBC News or any of the whatever the big ones are. I don't watch them. I don't know who the hipster people are. The reason I went on that show is because they asked me to do it, and they're fans of the music. I would go on any show that asked me to do it. I would do any interview with people who are interested in what I was doing. Any, that's the point of doing interviews. As far as like what my political motivations are, or any of those kinds of things. Just understand that I'm right in the middle of everything, pretty much. I'm a pro-abortion, pro-gun guy, It's pretty much pro-death, As far as that, there's no political party that speaks for me or any of those kinds of things, and nor do I want there to be. I wouldn't feel comfortable in those. I agree with some stuff from the right and the left, but certainly not everything. I wouldn't feel comfortable being involved in any of it. So, I did that podcast, but beyond that, I don't know. I know very little about the rest of it. And if people want to go on and on about any of the rest of that stuff, socialism or whatever it is, fine with me. Great. We'll just say that you're right, and that'll be fine. I'm fine with that. Good. We've cleared that up. Good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for addressing it. And obviously, since this came out, I guess people didn't know about the interview. It came out last week, right in time for your record.
The interview was 2.5 years ago.
I know, and everyone just found out now.
Well, who knows who? Maybe I wonder what other interviews I've done. Oh no,
Well, either way, I appreciate you clearing it because there was obviously a lot of people in the questions, asking about it. So I'm glad you jumped on it and
you're never going to be able to please everyone. Like I'm not going to be able to please. Oh yeah, I've satisfied everyone. I'm not even going to try. That's why I'm not going to make a statement. People are like, why aren't you making a statement about this? Oh, well, mainly because I will do an interview like this, but I don't make statements just because you say I should make a statement. I mean, it's like I am not a trained dog who barks on command. But I will do stuff like this and talk about it if it comes up. Fine.
Cool.
But as far as like me making an all-encompassing statement about the thing, no, you don't have that power over me. I will go on your show and I will talk to you about anything you would like. But beyond that, the general public doesn't dictate how I operate.
Cool. Well, thank you for clearing that up. And I know, obviously, ever since we posted that this was going to happen, that's what people seem to be talking about. And hopefully at some point, if we could just get back to talking about some music.
That's fine. I mean, people want to freak out about it. It's fine with me. I mean, there's not really much I can do about that. They're going, I'm not, if they want to view me as someone that's an enemy, nothing I can do. I mean, like I said, I've stood in front of tens of thousands of people who've hated my guts simply for playing music in front of a band they wanted to see more than me. So I can stand the heat.
Cool. Well, thank you again for. All right, so let's get to some non-related questions. Hold on a second.
I saw somebody
Uh,
say golf. I love golf. I love playing golf.
yeah, there's a lot. That seems to be a thing. Did you play golf your whole life, or did you hit a certain age and you're like, yo, I'm golf age now?
I was 56. I'm 56 now. I started playing
Yeah,
golf in the 40s. And I only started playing because people I knew were other rock and roll people had just started playing. They go, come on, let's play. And I think one of those guys still plays a little bit. But I started playing, and I thought it was fun. It was a good thing I could do by myself. I'm not a country club guy. Country clubs don't like me, believe it or not.
yeah.
It was hard as it to believe. I'm a municipal course guy, public course where you don't get any hassle from people. If I've been invited to play at some country clubs before, and it's usually I show up in the parking lot and I'm immediately surrounded by security.
Well, I think that's the weird thing about golf. That's why I find it really surprising the people I know that play golf, because it is kind of an elitist thing, especially like when it's a country club level. So it's nice to hear that you play on that. Let's say again.
Country clubs are definitely not for me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they want nothing to do with me. So I'm there for the physical activity and the sport of it. I love playing sports, but I played sports my whole when I was a kid. But what happened was I got to the point where I really hated the people that played sports. And now with this, it's like I can go do this whenever I want on my own. Golfing is basically you're quiet the whole time. You're not talking to each other, and it's hyper competitive. I play golf on in tournaments and all those kinds of things where you're playing PGA rules. I do all that stuff as hardcore as I can and take it really seriously. I want to do as good as I can. And I love it. It's really fun. As far as the elitist mentality of the whole thing, I'm just not involved in that.
yeah.
I don't have anything to do with that. I play my own game.
It's fun.
But it's fun to put yourself up against guys. Oh, I saw somebody. What's your handicap right now? I got a 12.
That's awesome.
Not bad.
Real quick too, a lot of
Single digits, but the handicap goes up and down. What'll happen is I'll go on tour, and then my handicap will go up when I get home because I don't play. And then now the golf courses were closed, and now they're open again. So my handicap went up, and now it's going to hopefully go down as I keep playing. So we'll see. But golf is something hopefully I'll be able to do the rest of my life. I love it. I love it outside.
Have you been golfing since? Because most of the golf courses didn't close. Because here they're all open. Are they open in LA?
No, but they were closed for a long time before.
Oh well, most of them. Yeah, it's so weird. Most of them stayed open here. Like I literally think they closed for a month.
Yeah, they did not stay open here.
Oh.
It finally reopened after a long time, and now I'm getting back to where not quite to my peak, but I'm working on it. It's not something I'll apologize for to people who can't stand. Most of the people that hate golf have never played golf.
Get that. And also baseball. So who's your team?
Love it.
Who's your favorite? Do you have a team, or do you just like this?
Well, I like baseball in general, but I like National League Baseball better because I don't like the DH. But right now they're using a DH for both leagues, so I'm kind of bummed out about the whole thing. And you are Mets. That's the league. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I just finished was the Doc Gooden autobiography.
Oh man, how good! Did you ever read How the Bad Guys Won? The story about the '86 Mets.
Talking about, yeah.
Oof. You mean that you read that? That dude.
I know the book you're talking about. I haven't read it. It sounds good though.
That's a book, man. It's funny because I grew up in New York. I was 10 years old when they won in '86, not realizing who they were.
Those guys was rough. That stuff was rough. That was that was back when it was wide open. Do what you want. Pretty much.
Dude, there's literally pictures of those guys smoking cigarettes in the dugout.
Oh, you used to see pictures of Hank Aaron smoking cigarettes in the dugout.
Yeah.
Everybody did.
Yeah, no fucks given. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's, different time.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know how that works. I'm sure that, smoking will kill you eventually, but not right away.
It's a slow death.
Yeah. Well, I always thought it was funny when people were talking about Obama. Obama is smoking. He should quit. And I go, no, I don't think that while you're president, you should kick tobacco. If you're smoking tobacco, you should wait and then kick after you.
Yeah, because that's a rough transition. That's a rough breakup. Like, you don't want to do that when you're making like big decisions.
No, let him quit. Just let the guy keep smoking. What I want to know is where he smoked in the White House. That's what I want to know. Where was
Right.
the place you can hang out and smoke?
Right. There's got to be. I think if you're president, you can call the shots. You can probably smoke anywhere.
Well, he was very careful to not have people see him smoking.
Yeah.
So I go, you got to rethink that. When you're thinking that this is a guy, the leader of the free world. I'm going to kick tobacco. No, now it's not. Now it's not.
Wait, real quick. You said it. What do you?
Either if you're drinking, you probably shouldn't quit that either.
Right. Wait, real quick. You said it. So, what do you think about the DH and you said it real quick. What do you think about the DH in the National League this year?
Oh, I don't like it. I don't like the DH. I think it's not real baseball. I think it's unfair to the pitchers. The American League pitchers have always had a much harder time than National League pitchers. Always.
Yeah.
I think it takes a lot of the strategy out of the game.
100%.
The strategy that I always enjoyed. I enjoy all that kind of chess move stuff where the coach has to think about whether he's going to lead the pitcher in, he's coming up to bat, how they're going to do it. All those things I thought were infinitely interesting, and they're lost with the DH. If I could make one change in baseball, it would be to get rid of the DH completely. Yeah.
I also do not like this extra innings runner on second rule. That just makes no sense.
Yeah, ever since the DH thing, I've kind of just not paid attention to the extra rules. I mean, it's a weird year. It's a weird year. There's no question. So, I mean, they've had a rough go of it. They've lost a ton of money. They're not making anywhere near the revenue they normally would. I'll just let them do it, but that's okay.
Yeah, it's a weird. Yeah,
what a DH is. DH is a designated hitter.
Oh.
Who hits in place of the pitcher. So the American League has always had the designated hitter. Oh, well, since the 70s, early 70s, and the National League never had it. National League was more traditional, kind of. National League had
nicer.
Cubs, Dodgers, Giants, all those teams like that. But that doesn't mean I don't like American League baseball. Of course I do. But I always liked in the World Series when they do interleague, where you play whatever rules are in the home team. So the Yankees would come to Dodger Stadium and they'd be hitting. The pitchers would be hitting. Cool. It's really cool.
Well, obviously here we have when the Yankees and Mets play the Subway Series, it's such a to-do. Like everyone comes out and it's, brother versus brother and mothers and dads fighting, But
I like the Mets and I like the Yankees. The Yankees are one of the original teams. I'm not going to hate them. I'm just not going to. I'm too much of a baseball fan to hate the Yankees, No, I like Boston Red Sox. I don't like the Red Sox fans, but I'd be lying to say I wasn't a Red Sox fan, sure. But I prefer National League baseball. That's it. I went to the old Yankee Stadium and loved it. I would be I didn't totally enjoy myself at that. I went to Fenway Park and I had a great time. Sitting there as a historical baseball fan, it really is a thrill to go to a place like that, whether it's American League or not.
Do you do that on tour? When you have a day off, do you get to like to go? Because I've done that too. It's amazing to actually see baseball in different cities. It's not your own.
Yeah, Dale has done that more than me, but we've seen baseball all over the country. He's been to and I have. A lot of times I've bowed out because I was too fucking tired. It's like I just want to go to bed, or my voice is not in very good shape, and the last thing I want to do is go to a baseball game and go screaming for the whole day off. It's like I don't want to do it.
I back that, yeah.
But I've been to all the parks in California, lots of the parks. Usually every year, I'll go to all the parks in California. Oakland, San Francisco, Anaheim, L.A., and San Diego. And then there's games where if the schedules are overlapping enough, I've done this more than once. Where I've went to a day game in Dodger Stadium, drove to San Diego, and went to a night game, stayed in San Diego, went to a day game, and then drove to Anaheim and went to a night game. So 4 games.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've done that too here because you could hit like Philadelphia in an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I've definitely done that. Like I've done Phillies, Mets, and Yankees like in 2 days, no problem.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, as a baseball fan, I think it's a really great thing to do, and I love it. It's just I would love to at some point. I've heard people doing this like a retirement thing where you spend the summer just going to every single baseball park.
Yeah,
driving,
I
drive.
did that a couple of years ago. I drove cross country, and then I think I went to 6 baseball games. Like when I went to Seattle, which also too. I don't know if you've made it back. It's still is it still Safeco?
I've been there. Yeah, it's great. Safe.
Amazing.
What an engineering master. It's a masterful engineering of that place. No rain.
And they
Can't have a rain out in Seattle. No chance of
right.
it. That's so great.
Yeah, and that's a place we need. And they also serve grasshopper there. Have you ever had it? They serve grasshopper, like fried grasshoppers in Safeco.
I almost never eat the food at baseball parks, believe it or not.
Really?
Almost never.
Wow. Even the hot dogs? You don't do the hot dogs?
Not often.
Wow.
Not usually. Weirdly enough,
You're probably better off for it because they'll definitely take worse than smoking. Those will definitely take some years off your life.
Oh, they might. I don't know. It seems like kind of harmless fun. Okay, you want a hot dog? Go ahead. It's
Yeah.
deal. There's worse things to be addicted to than hot dog.
like soda.
There's worse things to be addicted to than soda.
Yeah, I've yet to find them.
Well, I don't know anybody that's went to prison for soda addiction.
No, you probably. I mean, now with aspartame, they say it's really bad for you. So I'm sure I'm going to wind up with some kind of disease from it. So be it.
But they'll say that kind of stuff, but in the same store, you can buy a half a gallon of tequila, and that's fine.
Right.
Nothing bad.
Just pick your poison.
Yeah, don't watch aspartame.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. These actually, I don't know if you know, but these actually cut off after an hour. So in 3 minutes, we're going to get cut off. So thank you so much. Anything, and also too, Gift of Sacrifice record came out the other day. It's fucking awesome. Go fucking get it right now.
All right, take it easy.
Thank you so much, dude. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Bye-bye.
All right, see you. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. That was totally fun. It was awesome talking to him, especially about the old school Houdini stuff. It's super fucking cool hearing what he's had to say about it. Thanks. Tomorrow we are going to be talking to Tarya on our Irving Plaza's Instagram at 12 o'clock. Please check it out. That'd be great. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.